All right, my micro adjuster with my aluminum thumb wheels and mag switches. It occurred to me that maybe this might be out of some of your guys' price range, and I wanted to come up with a version that was more economical, I guess I'll put it that way. So everything you see here can be substituted with some other things that I've designed, and you can get by and build this thing for very little if you do the thumb wheels, the DIY thumb wheels I showed in my previous video. Then everything else can be done real inexpensive. So let me set up, or let's just do this. Let me pan over here and show you the other two things, the other two versions I came up with, and then I'll set it up and show you how they work. So here's my second version. Actually, it's the third one. The first one's already in the trash. But this one works all right. But if you watch that, as I tighten up this thumb screw here, you can see how it wants to rise up. You know, it still works, but it's canting itself, trying to find center, basically. So I used it. It works, but this part here didn't thrill me too much, the way that worked. So what I decided to do was create one that had its own center line, basically, or a center line that in line with the thumb screw. And now you can see when I tighten that thing does not rise up or move at all. And it locks good and solid, which is what I like as well. Both of them lock good and solid. But because this is a plastic thumb screw, you're not going to mar up your guide rail, and you're going to get a good tight grip on the guide rail. And you know, you're not using this to lock your fence. You're just using it to position it. And then once you have it positioned, then you're going to lock it with the cam lock. So this version here works really well, and let me show you why. So I'm not going to show you how any video of how I made this. It's pretty self-explanatory. But obviously you got a 3/8 thumb screw here, and then inside I've got a T-nut countersunk into the side of this. And what's important is this center line mark right here, which for me was 1 inch down from this intersection between the top and the side. So 1 inch down became my center line. So then I took the center line and dadoed out for this piece of Baltic birch plywood. A little bit more than 1/8 of this exposed from the edge. It doesn't need to be that big. It could be even smaller if you wanted. So that's not a big deal. But I would say that's the max you would want to go is about 1/8. And then that, when you tighten the thumb screw up now, as it comes through, it's now centering up on this piece here and tightening up. The only thing that you may want to do would be maybe you'd want to put 2 of these in there. That would give you a better grip, I suppose. But this works really well. I'm happy with the way this one works. And then again, you have to dado out for your tape. So let me rearrange it. I'll put this on my guide rail, and I'll put the adjustment mechanism on here. Oh, and this was the other thing too. Now the adjustment mechanism is on the inside, so that you have full exposure of your tape. And not that big a deal, but it is there. So let me do that, and then I'll come right back. A couple things I need to point out for you too is that I reinforced this joint going down with dowels, a 1/4 inch on the back and 3/8 on the front here, because this is 3/4 inch ply and the one in the back is 1/2 inch. So that works out well. So you can see now that when I just loosen that, I've got max adjustment here, right? And when I tighten it, snug it up, and everything works just like it did with the mag switches. So much more economical way to make this. You know, especially like I said, if you make your own thumb wheels, you're into this for little or nothing really. And here's the part number from Incra. That's for that 3/8 16 thumb wheel, or yeah, thumb screw, I guess I'll call it. So that's the part number and the price as of 5/9/2016. So you know, if I were going to buy some, I might buy a half a dozen of them just in case. You know, if they wear out, break, whatever might happen. But for $1.15 plus some shipping, I'm sure, some homemade thumb wheels, a piece of 3/8 rod, and then everything else is pretty simple to get a hold of. T-nuts. You could probably build this thing for less than $10. Quickly, 2 things I forgot to mention. I moved the center line of this over a 1/4 inch to accommodate the fact that this part of the tool wouldn't be interfering with the table saw. So that's kind of a heads up. The other thing is, if you didn't want to do this, if you didn't want to use this thumb wheel and you wanted to use a 3/8 nylon set screw, that's another possibility. The only thing about that is you're now going to need another tool to adjust or lock it. You're going to need an Allen wrench, but it would work. And there you are. That's locked solid. And you can see it works just as well with a 3/8 nylon set screw. Same as you have right here. So if you don't want to have use one of these from Incra, you can use an off-the-shelf nylon set screw as well. Thanks for watching.